Welcome back to Mini Mayhem! I'm Oshrik Vox, and Star vs. the Forces of Evil concludes with the series finale, Cleaved. Now, as always, we're going to go through this finale for all the Easter eggs, references, and details you may have missed, the deeper meaning behind certain actions in this episode, and just really enjoy however long this video ends up being, because this is the last time I'm going to be able to break down an episode of Star on the account of there being, well, no more after this. It's very bittersweet. But with all that said, let's dive in. Now, this episode title is of course a reference to Glosrick's line of dialogue at the end of the first season finale, Storm the Castle. You can cleave something apart, or you can cleave something together. This title brings the show full circle, connecting this finale to the conclusion of the show's first story arc. This episode is also the first and only time the theme song is reduced to a mere 20 seconds in length, done to incorporate more time into the episode itself, which personally gave me chills when I first watched it. I knew we were in store for something special. This is also the 14th half-hour episode of the series. This episode opens up picking up where we previously left off, still inside the tavern at the end of the multiverse, where Marco questions if destroying magic is even possible. Star believes if she recites the whispering spell within the realm of magic itself, it'll eradicate any and all magic. Remember, Star previously used the whispering spell twice before, once in front of Toffee after he demanded she destroy the wand, and the other when she recited Little's wand in order to find her way to Toffee. The whispering spell kills the mill horse inside the wand that keeps it up and running. The mill horse itself is of course made of magic, so it makes sense that instead of killing one magic being and finding yourself transported into the realm of magic, saying it in the dimension would kill any and all forms of magic right at the source. Hekapoo reactivates the portals, and comes to terms with her inevitable demise, bringing her redemption arc full circle in a very casual way that really only Hekapoo could pull off, making a huge sacrifice of surrendering her life to see a peaceful outcome within Muni, remarking that she always had a feeling that magic did more harm than good. Mina Loveberry and her army is just evidence of magic at its absolute worst. Of course, it makes sense Hekapoo would be the one member of the High Commission to make a more heroic play. She's consistently been a friend to Marco, regardless of any conflict going on between Eclipsa or Star, so it's not surprising they want her to go out on a high note, rather than a more sour, antagonistic end that the rest of the High Commission are in. Hekapoo's final line actually comes in the form of a callback. Marco's concerned over lacking a weapon before embarking on this final mission, leading to Hekapoo teasing Marco about his mole, and giving a spicy slap on the head, briefly leaving it smoking. In Hekapoo's proper introduction, running with scissors, she repeatedly slapped Marco on the back of the head, her pyrokinesis creating a bald spot that stuck even after Marco returned from the Never Zone. Marco equips the Royal Wand, which transforms back into its look when Marco wielded the wand in the episode Deep Dive, although it lacks the magic mold Janet tacked onto it. Now, I do want to point out that if you're not suited for the wand and able to overcome the magic, you will succumb to its darker side and go insane, like Lobster Claws did in his self-titled episode. Previously, it was implied that Marco was proficient at wielding the wand due to the Blood Moon Curse. But if that's been broken, it may be due to a different reason. Perhaps even a different kind of magic, one that may have come into play at the episode's climax. Star begins to fall under the realm of magic's amnesia-inducing abilities, when the skeleton of the Firstborn arises from the magic, warning Star and Marco to flee. This confirms that, sadly, the Firstborn was slain by the Dark Mill Horse at the end of Mama Star, likely only still some form of alive, thanks to the fact she's submerged in the magic waters. We actually get a few surprising deaths in this episode. Marco realizes that Glosrick's favorite meal, pudding, prevents anyone who consumes the pudding from losing their memories in the realm. This entire time, Glosrick was hiding the key to surviving in the realm of magic in plain sight. Many people predicted this in our comment section over the last few days. You guys rock! This revelation is interrupted with the return of Tom and the Dark Mill Horse, Tom under the dark magic's influence. Off-screen, he likely either consumed the dark magic like some of the baby mill horses, or was impaled by the dark mill horse's horn. We last saw Tom left behind in the realm of magic in Mama Star, after blowing the top of Oscar's car off, forgotten by everyone else who was loopy due to the realm. Marco takes over fighting Tom duties, telling Star you've got to destroy your family's legacy, acknowledging the complex, darker aspects of the situation, while also reinforcing the title and theme of this episode. By removing magic, Star is cleaving herself from her family's legacy. But for every horrible thing magic has accomplished, some amazing things were accomplished by the Butterfly family as well through the assistance of magic. Star sacrificing everything in the past to ensure the future turns out as peaceful as possible, with zero chance of issues arising from the magic. River and Eddie arrive to the entrance of the magic sanctuary, as Eddie remarks he needs to brush up on his gator, referring to Moon communicating with alligators in Return to Muni, creating the gateway. Moon also spoke Gator and Down by the River, and Star attempted to speak Gator and Conquer. Unfortunately for River and Eddie, they're busted by Mina Loveberry herself. Back in the realm of magic, Star's first attempt at destroying the magic finally reveals the incantation of the Whispering spell, as we never actually heard it in the series prior. In order to use the spell, one proficient in magic must recite, break the bond, tear the fabric, cleave the stone, stop the magic. Marco uses a few of Star's spells during his battle with Tom and the Millhorse, Cupcake Blast, and an attempt at a Narwhal Blast. However, he uses his imagination to accomplish creating two of his own spells. Mixed Martial Arts Rainbow Thing, which takes the form of an inflatable air dancer that you'd find outside a car dealership, with a mustache that reminds me of Mackie Hand, and a red headband that may be a reference to Marco's red belt, and the other spell, Kitten Bomb, which create 3 meowing kitten-shaped explosives that not only feature Marco's hairstyle, but his crescent moon cheek marks, rotated sideways. One of the baby mill horses remarks that Tom is one with magic now, which alludes to dark magic creating a singular hive mind, its goal being the destruction of anything and everything in its path, much like Eclipsa's spell with no name, or the Total Annihilation spell, which was the spell that created this specific force of evil. Marco makes a sacrificial play by leaping headfirst towards Tom and shoving a spoonful of pudding into Lucitor's mouth, getting impaled by the Dark Mill Horse in the process. We speculated before that pudding could be the remedy to dark magic, and considering Tom returns to a normal state, yes, he jogged his memory, but curing dark magic could be exactly what's at play. It seems dark magic also causes you to forget who you are, so remedying this with pudding means this treat could also be a solution to both problems. Now, Marco's untreated wound doesn't necessarily come into play in a major way like I was anticipating. We didn't have a moment where he was taken over and Star had to get his mind under control, but this does open the gateway for some post-finale theories, which we will definitely talk about. Keep an eye on this channel. Star is unable to fulfill her task solo, and is shortly accompanied by Moon, Eclipsa, and Meteora, the 4 butterflies working together, using magic to destroy magic. I used the stones to destroy the stones. This calls back to the design of the Grandma Room, in particular, its patterns and symbols on the door: a heart, a diamond, a club, and a spade. These 4 symbols appeared prominently throughout the Grandma Room, almost as if it was a prophecy that these would be the 4 butterflies, or really the 4 queens, assuming Meteora has time on the throne, who would be the ones responsible for removing magic and revolutionizing the butterfly legacy. The scars of dark magic are also washed away from Eclipsa's arms, which in a way wipes her slate clean. Her moniker was the Queen of Darkness. She was assumed the worst by the Magic High Commission and humans, who submitted to the propaganda without bothering to question the stigma fed to them. By washing away the physical reminder of the more sinister magic she's indulged in, she's been given a new chance to prove herself, by really not proving anything at all, and just living her life, happy with her family. Using a spell while immersed in magic causes Moon and Star to dip down, achieving their puberty forms. Eclipsa joining in on the fun. However, she's not alone, as Glossaryx soon appears, cueing to Meteora that it's her turn to dip down as well, achieving her own puberty form with green wings that complement the color of her magic. Glossaryx prepared Meteora and taught her how to dip down at an early age because he knew he wouldn't be around to teach her when she was older, due to both him and magic ceasing to exist. Glossaryx wanted to properly bond and teach Meteora before his demise. The destruction of magic was also foreshadowed by Rhina the Riddle's chapter in the Book of Spells. 7 came before Rhina, if you subtract the boy. Add 4 more reigns to her domain, and then what gets destroyed. Now obviously this is referring to the 7 queens before Rhaina and the 4 that follow afterwards, including Star. Initially, one would assume this means destruction of the book, as that was after Star's entry, but really it was referring to the magic in this moment. The high concentration of magic and its destruction summons the spirits of Muni's previous queens, everyone that has an entry in the Book of Spells. This leads to 2 reunions between a mother and a daughter, Common and Moon, who's beyond happy to see her mother one final time, followed with Solaria and Eclipsa, who shuns her mother for her hateful actions against monster kind. Mina makes an entrance, only to be startled by the appearance of Solaria, until she's trampled by the Dark Mill Horse, crying for Solaria's help, only for the ghost of the queen to disregard her entirely. Solaria realized the error of her ways, and would rather aid her daughter and what remains of her family, instead of promoting any more unjust hatred of those different from her. The destruction of magic sees crystal pillars in the realm of magic to crumble. Star, Moon, Eclipsa, and Meteora's Mewtwo forms dissipate, the portal to other worlds begin to vanish, the wand loses its mill horse, which in itself creates a storm that increases the destruction, and the spirits of the queens fade away. Before Solaria disappears once and for all, she's able to make amends with Eclipsa in a brief yet emotional gut punch of a moment, coming into contact with Meteora and going out with a smile on her face, completely understanding Eclipsa's actions, supporting Eclipsa just by seeing the beauty of her granddaughter's face. As this happens, Glossaryck shares his sentiments on the Age of Magic coming to a close, stating he thinks they made the right choice. Glossaryck, being the omnipotent force that he is, knew that this was coming from the very moment he came into existence. Each and every action done in this series was guiding everyone to this point. He doesn't just think, but knows that this is the best decision for Magic and those affected by it. And he's proud of Star for making the decision. Like the Titanic, a good captain goes down with his ship, but I almost wondered if dying is Glossaryck's own decision. I mean, when you're Glossaryck, couldn't you just create a non-magical copy of your body? He's a walking loophole. But by sacrificing himself, it's very clear that he's content with this being his end, that he doesn't have a need to exist any longer. And even so, he'll always exist back in the past. As the portals begin to close, Marco asks Star what the plan is for seeing each other, only for Star to really avoid answering the question, pretending that everything is alright while tearing up, signaling to Marco that she's not telling the truth, and that returning to Earth means that he'll never see Star again. However, Star decides she'd rather go to Earth and be with Marco, which is a heavy call, considering this means she'd never see any of her family or friends on Muni again. Yet, Star's return to the realm of magic leads to the Earth well being closed, but Marco is still where she left him. Star and Marco embrace, knowing with or without magic, they belong together, both with their cheek marks glowing. For Marco, this is the first time his cheek marks have appeared since Booth Buddies, and the first time physically since they first popped up in Deep Dive. Their love seems to have created a magic all of its own, a magic powerful enough to forge one last portal. Yet before we see where that goes, the magic places the two back where they belong. On Muni, in the ruins of the sanctuary, Moon finds Star asleep on the alligator, both butterflies lacking their cheek marks. Now, cheek marks are a physical reflection of exposure to magic. No more magic means no more cheek marks for any of the butterfly family. The Mewmons that Moon transformed into Solarian warriors have returned back to normal, including one of the Maisleys, who backtracks on their decision to become a bloodthirsty warrior. This sort of confirms the suggestion I made prior that the Solarian warriors would be those in Moon's village, not moving back because the events of Coronation did not sway their minds towards Eclipsa or Globgor. Mina has also survived. Although with her powers stripped away from her, she is now weakened and frail, but still firm in her beliefs, stating that even if she's killed, her ideas will linger far beyond her death. This is the same line of thinking shared by Severus of Tarsus, who never appeared this season or was even mentioned, but it's still a very dangerous trait to have. If there's another installment in this franchise down the road, we may know what to expect. Everyone who was affected by the Solarian wounds are now healed, and as it turns out, beings like Ponyhead and Seahorse are still capable of flying, meaning those abilities were independent of magic. Kelly, Jorby, and Talon have returned to their own home dimensions, continuing their adventures. Their lives and happiness will still go on, even if they can't see Star and the rest of their friends. The same can't be said for the Magic High Commission, however, who are as good as dead. Omnitraxus is reduced back to a mere skull, just like when he was drained by Toffee Ludo and Star Crushed. Romulus is just a crystal, and his 2 snake arms can no longer speak. They're just normal snakes now. We can assume Hegapoo is also gone, even though we didn't see her demise. And unfortunately, this means Reynaldo the Bald Pate is also gone. Which kinda sucks the most for him because he probably was unaware of the entire conflict with Mina in general. So whereas Romulus and Omnitraxus just died out of nowhere, Reynaldo was likely just minding his own business before he, well, stopped existing. There are some more unanswered questions about the consequences of magic, but I'll work that into my video on every unanswered question pertaining to Star versus the forces of evil. In a twist of events, Tom arrives to show Star the portal she created in the Realm of Magic's final moments. Meanwhile, Marco wakes up on Earth only to find that the wound from the Dark Mill Horse is gone, which is mysterious, but again, we'll dive into that later. Janna and Marco share one last moment, where Janna, for the first time, acknowledges Marco as a friend, instead of a guinea pig that she always tortures, and stages a scene for Marco to run towards the portal, which has also appeared on Earth. Star and Marco both head for the portal, and during this sequence, we get the final appearance of a few characters. Jackie Lynn Thomas, her implied girlfriend Chloe, Ludo and Dennis, Ludo at peace and on good terms with Star, Alfonso, Ferguson, Starfan 13, Brittany, Mr. Candle, miscellaneous townfolk from the first 2 seasons, and the rats that formerly served Ludo. The portal explodes as Marco nears it, an explosion of magic that has combined Earth and Muni together. Whereas Star cleaved magic from existence, her and Marco's love created its own magic that cleaved Earth and Muni into one dimension, which seems to have a bit more negative effects for the Earthlings, as we see from the Morrison's brief cameo. Remember, they were the couple that Raphael and Angie wanted to hang out with in Heinous. But I'm sure after an adjustment period, things will be a-okay. Humans originated from humans, and now that there's no magic, they're practically the same. This could even be why the magic cleaved Earth and Muni together, truly placing everyone back where they belong. Star and Marco reunite for a final time, never having to be separated ever again. Their 2 different worlds, 2 different families, finally join together. This is the second and final episode to not use traditional credits, but instead, we have one last panning shot that concludes with a shooting star in the newborn sky. According to the series composer Brian H. Kim, the final shot was intended to roll seamlessly into the closing credits, so the music was composed to also transition accordingly. But the network required them to separate the show from the credits. And there you have it, the final episode of Star vs. the Force of Evil to likely ever exist, broken down. Now, I already know the reactions to this finale will be very, divisive, and I may do a video just giving my own thoughts on the episode separate from the breakdown, so stay tuned for that. And stay tuned for a bunch of other Star vs. the Force of Evil content. Guys, just because the show is over doesn't mean the content is over. There's still some theories, speculations, unanswered questions that I want to talk about. And who knows, maybe the show will come back in some sort of capacity. It is pretty open-ended, but we'll talk about that open-ended conclusion in another video that should go up shortly after this breakdown. If not, it'll already be up. And just because Star is over doesn't mean there aren't any cartoons you guys can follow. There are so many great things coming out. Just in the next month, we'll have Amphibia starting on Disney Channel, created by one of the directors on Gravity Falls, and I Love You Mau Mau on Cartoon Network, from one of the directors of OKKO. Not to mention Infinity Train, The Owl House, so many good story-driven cartoons on the way. What did you guys think of Cleaved? Was there anything we missed in our breakdown? What was your favorite moment? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, or tweet your thoughts at RoundTableVids. And for more of my own thoughts, you can find me at OstricVox. We're also on Instagram. Help the Roundtable grow by either becoming a member of this channel or supporting us over at Patreon. Link in the description. If you enjoyed this video, please sort a like and subscribe to the Roundtable for more great cartoon content. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have an awesome day. Oshrik Vox, signing out. Hey everyone, just letting you know over pre-recorded message that we will be at MomoCon 2019. We'll be there all 4 days, but I know what you're thinking. What about the panels? And to that, my friend, I have an answer. Friday at 2:30 will be on the Channel Frederator panel, talking about our experiences as content creators. Then on Saturday at 4 p.m., we have the first ever animation showcase with a bunch of other content creators in the cartoon community. Cosmodor, Robotaxi, Nintendo, Saberspark, you name it. We'll be showing off a bunch of animated projects, such as Hazbin Hotel, whose creator will also be there, Long Gone Gulch, Amoda and Nepson, and more. And yes, we will be showing exclusive footage you cannot see anywhere else. Well, I mean, until the actual panel, where I'm sure it'll be live streamed and you can, but you guys get the point. After that, our final panel will be Saturday at 7. Another Steven Universe of the fan of this panel. Us, Mackenzie Atwood, Slice of Otaku, Rose's Universe, and Michaela Deese, the voice of Amethyst. Oh yeah, did I mention this TV Universe cast will be there? Zach Callison, Dee Magnahall, Michaela Deese, and Estelle. Well, Estelle's only gonna be a Thursday, but Estelle. Get hyped for MomoCon, guys. It's so close, and I have a feeling it'll be one of the best years yet. Hope to see some of your beautiful faces there.